Welcome to today's webinar, Securing Your Data, the Final Frontier, the last in Switchshop's Defense in Depth series for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Before handing over to Paul, I'd just like to take you through some brief housekeeping rules. To the right-hand side of the screen, you will see chat. This is a public chat, and here you can alert us to any issues you may be encountering or anything else. The next tab is questions. We'll be having a Q&A at the end of today's session, so please place any questions you may have there. These are private and will only be seen by the presenters. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Paul Staniford, Technical Architect at HPE.
Hello and good afternoon, and thank you for that introduction. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon, and for the next 20 to 25 minutes, I'm going to run you through the data protection strategy that we have at HPE, and we're also going to focus on around protecting data for backups and protecting against ransomware. So initially, to start off with, I thought I'd just talk through the data protection strategy that we have within HPE. We have a large number of products within our portfolio that all seamlessly integrate with a number of different backup vendors. The majority of customers that I work with today utilize, ISVs like Veeam, Commvault, and Veritas Net Backup. HP themselves also have our own product called Recovery Manager Central that works alongside our primary storage products. Now, as we work down here, most customers are utilizing a primary storage solution. Now, this may be HP technology or it may be from another vendor. And the majority of customers that we work with today are utilizing virtualized estates. So they may be using VMware or Hyper-V or another product to virtualize their current infrastructure and applications that they're utilizing and storing on primary storage. Now, primary storage is there for high availability and I suppose the ability to utilize some of the features within primary storage around snapshotting and recovery. But we do recommend that most customers look at having 3 copies of their data in 2 locations, and ideally with 1 location being off-site and then in theory away from their current infrastructure. So as we look at this portfolio here, most customers will be looking at primary storage. They then will have a secondary or tertiary copy that may be used for DR or backup. And then a number of customers these days are then looking at the ability to provision and backup into the cloud, or have a backup copy, like a copy job with Veeam, and move that over to a third site. So today we're going to predominantly focus on the secondary backup technology and features, and also look into how we go about protecting that data for an offsite copy into something called Cloud Volumes Backup, which we have available in both the UK and Ireland. Now, as data within organizations is changing, and there's a huge market trend at the moment with data increasing, and people are seeing explosive rates of data growth within their organizations. Usually, obviously, this data does need backing up, and that's where the complexity can come in around how many backups you have, how many copies of that backup you have, and also the retention that you need from that backup. Now, to transform backup, there's a number of different ways that we can look at utilizing different features and functions within this organization and these features. And that is key to, I suppose, the opportunity really of getting more value out of your backup data. Now, a number of customers that I've worked with recently have had issues with their current backup technology. As their production data volumes of virtual machines have grown, some customers may have 600, 1,000 virtual machines on their production environment. And the issue around backing that up in a timely manner and being able to recover that data very quickly and efficiently is causing customers ongoing troubles. Also, I suppose one of the issues with backup technology is that usually customers invest upfront with a CapEx for a backup solution that's maybe for 3 or 5 years. And along with that, they also have the cost of the expensive software and the licensing that goes with it. Now, most people will over-provision their backup technology at the start, because initially when you do a full copy of your infrastructure, you may be only using 20 or 30% of that backup target infrastructure. But as your applications change and the retention periods increase, then you will find that you start consuming that backup technology. And at times you can easily go above and beyond the capacity of those platforms. And I suppose today we're going to focus on the ability of maybe changing the retention period that customers have on-prem and looking at retaining an additional copy or a separate copy in the cloud. Now, as I covered off in the first slide, there's a couple of different products that we have in our primary production portfolio, and these all allow, I suppose, rapid recovery utilizing snapshots on production storage. Within HP, we have a dedicated backup product called HP Store Once, and this uses a catalyst protocol that we utilize within Veeam and Commvault and NetBackup in the ability to transfer backups from the production storage onto a very efficient deduplication appliance called a HP Store Once. But as the data sets grow and customers need to recover data quicker and more efficiently, we then look at the ability to utilize long-term archival. And what I will say, with the ransomware attacks that we've seen in the last 12 to 18 months on some key high-profile customers in Europe, I would say tape has definitely seen a bit of a resurgence. The ability to store a full offsite copy on tape that's written to an LTO library is very good for customers, and obviously it allows them to ring fence that data off to a tape storage facility, knowing that they have a full copy of their environment in the event of a ransomware hit. But there is actually another way to look at that, in that with the use of cloud volumes and cloud bank within the UK, we have the ability to utilize the existing media servers like the Veeam and the Commvault media servers, and we can add a second backup target that fits in the cloud. Now, as we said, backup is it can be complex to manage. It can be very painful to check and recover from your backups. But, every customer needs a backup copy and ideally a secondary copy of their data in the event of corruption or interference from ransomware. But, some of the backup solutions we use today, they are scalable, but they do have issues with the way that they scale and support these larger workloads and the increased throughput that we need within the applications. And that is where the Cloud Volumes backup solution comes from. In the UK, HP have invested in 2 sites within secure UK data centres in both London and Dublin that allow the customers and the ability to provision basically a backup target that sits in the cloud. You have the ability to log into your existing backup product, say Veeam or Commvault, and from there you can add a separate designated Cloud Volumes block portal that sits in the cloud and enables your backups to be retained off-site in a secure location. This enables you to back up any production storage. So as long as you have one of our ISV applications that is supported with Cloud Volumes backup, we support a very large variety of production storage vendors. So if you have your applications and your virtual machines running on storage today, and you have a Commvault or Veeam or a Veritas software in your environment, you will be able to natively hook that application and that backup up to Cloud Volumes, which will then enable you to utilize a Cloud Volumes backup target that is very efficient, it's very fast, and it's very flexible, because you actually only pay for the capacity that you use on a monthly basis in the cloud. When we come to restoring the applications in the event of you needing to possibly utilize the data in the cloud for analytics or test and dev, or you need to recover an individual file or folder, you utilize the standard backup application that you've been using in your organization. You will connect to your Cloud Backup Volumes target, and you have the ability to either recover directly into the cloud, or you have the ability to recover back on-prem. Now, this service is very simple to use, and as I said, it fits in with all of the leading backup application software vendors that we have available today. And as part of this solution, we have a built-in service that enables you to recover this application and your virtual machines utilizing Recovery Manager Central. So that is the portal that we have available to customers that enables you to orchestrate and back up and recover these virtual machines or physical hosts either into the cloud or back onto the back on-prem. Now, the portal is very quick to log into, and I'm going to run through a short demo in a couple of minutes that kind of highlights this solution and showcases some of the features and functions. But in reality, we have a web portal that customers log into. You will then have the ability to provision a new backup target in the cloud. Then you have to log into your application on-prem, your Veeam, your Commvault, your Veritas Net Backup. You provision a new backup target, and that backup target actually sits in the cloud, and then you continue to run your backups. And in theory, your backups will be pushed out to the cloud, so you have a full off-site protected copy. Now, I've chosen to showcase Veeam today, but as I say, we do work with a number of other different providers. So let me start off this demo, and we'll showcase the solution really and how it integrates. So how Cloud Volumes Backup integrates with one of the Veeam is very popular in the industry as a backup and recovery tool. So initially here, we will see that we will actually run through the architecture. So this just shows that the Cloud Volumes Backup portal and the actual backup target sit within the UK. So we have 2 sites in a secure Equinix data centers that are held within the UK. You then obviously have an internet connection between your on-prem data center and the Cloud Volumes Backup. Here we install a secure client application that in theory creates the connection between the source production data center and to the target that sits within Cloud Volumes. So initially we need to go and create a backup store. So this is the storage that the backup target that's provisioned within HP Cloud Volumes. So it's very simple to log into our portal. You create a new backup target, and for this perspective, we're just using a demo volume. You'll notice here that all we're doing here is creating a backup target that the backup application will write to. We also create a secure username and password that is installed on the secure client. So you download the pre-configured secure client, which in theory is a proxy that gives your on-prem data center access, secure access that is encrypted into the Cloud Volumes Backup. So there's a couple of different ways of doing this. Within this demo here, we're utilizing a PowerShell toolkit to install the client. So as we install this client, you will notice that we are then creating the connection from the source data center, which in theory is the customer's production data center. We're creating that secure connection from the customer's data center into the Cloud Volumes Backup. We then go about creating a new backup repository. So we've logged into Veeam, and we'll go ahead here and we will utilize one of a new backup repository via the Veeam Wizard. So customers logging into Veeam Wizard, we're selecting a deduplication aware storage appliance. So Store Once utilizes our proprietary protocol and Catalyst API that allows Veeam to natively write to this backup object store that sits in the cloud. We're utilizing our own proprietary API and protocol called Catalyst that is secure. It offers very good performance, and we offer 2 different options around either doing client-side deduplication or doing host-side deduplication. Once this has been set up, you then have the ability to connect to that target, which we've done there. And once that is configured within the Veeam application, you will then see that we have a new backup target. It's then just a matter of going into an existing backup policy or creating a new backup policy via a new job here to back up an existing virtual machine. You can go through the standard wizard that you utilize in your backup application to set retention, and also to enable some features within Veeam around application-aware processing and indexing. And here you create the access point, which is the secure client that we're utilizing to write to this data. We're then setting up a retention policy and a backup policy within Veeam, and then we will kick off a backup. And now what is happening is we're actually backing up this virtual machine, and that backup is being pushed to the backup target. And this one was obviously utilizing a site in the US, but we have this available in the UK and Dublin. In the event of a customer needing to do a restore, they have the ability to log into Veeam again. You can recover obviously an entire VM or a subset of a VM. And from there, it will actually recover that volume of data and that backup from the Cloud Volumes Backup, utilizing the Catalyst protocol back on-prem to your production site. As you see, this integrates with the ISV that we're utilizing here, and we have the same features with Commvault, Simpana, and also with Veritas Net Backup. So as we move forward here, we see the features really cover a number of different applications and source production storage. So you don't have to be using HPE storage here. We fully support the application ISVs with backup policies, as you saw. So we don't have to have HP production storage. But what this does allow you to do is you have the ability to obviously back up those particular virtual machines or applications or physical machines utilizing your standard backup application software that most customers have these days. And obviously we're pushing that backup target into Cloud Volumes Backup. Now this is a great feature and a great function because obviously there's no need to install any additional software, but what we are doing here is we're giving the ability to utilize the cloud at scale. So initially you only pay for the capacity you're using, and as that target volume grows with backup data, you get charged on a monthly basis on a consumption model within the cloud. One clear thing here is that the backup is secure and it is invisible to ransomware, because this is not a local C drive or a D drive on your media server that in the event of ransomware attacking it will go and encrypt those local drives on the Windows host. This is fully protected as part of obviously the data protection strategy we've talked about here, and it's fully off-site and protected from ransomware. And as part of the solution as well, we fully offer the ability to encrypt data. So we can offer the ability to encrypt data in flight, and we also, with the target that the backup data is actually sitting on, is fully encrypted in the cloud as well. Now, one key thing here as well is the ability, obviously, that the backups are invisible to ransomware attacks because they are not integrated into Active Directory, and they are, stored off-site into the cloud. The other area that is key here is that the actual Cloud Volumes Backup storage and portal is not sitting in GCP or AWS or Azure. So as the data leaves your site and is pushed back into the cloud, there's no ingress or egress charges with the cloud providers when you do your backups, because we're not actually going across a VCP within Azure or AWS. We're actually utilizing a connection that HP have hosted, a secure connection in the Equinix data centers for this solution. So, usually customers, and I've seen them look at cloud backup solutions before, and when they start moving 10, 20, 30 terabytes of data over a month into a backup target, the majority of the cost that they see is the actual ingress and egress charges for that backup data as it comes into Azure or AWS. With this solution, because we're outside of the cloud providers, but obviously we're still in a highly secure location in Equinix data center, we don't have that overhead for the data cost charges across the network. Now, the other way that mainly customers pay for, really, if you are buying an on-prem storage solution, I suppose from our perspective in pre-sales, when we look at a customer that might have, say, 20 or 30 terabytes of production data, we actually look at that data set and work out the monthly, weekly, nightly backups and the retention policy that customer wants to store. And then if we were putting an on-prem solution in place, most customers will buy that capacity for, say, 3 years up front on their backup target. With Cloud Volumes, obviously, it's consume as you use. So you'll notice when that target was created, we didn't actually set a size for that Cloud Volumes Backup target in the cloud, because in theory, it is just the location that Veeam then writes to. And because we do per month billing within Cloud Volumes Backup, as you start consuming that space, you will have a monthly cost associated with that capacity that you're utilizing within Cloud Volumes Backup. And that's just, I suppose it's very similar to how you'd utilize and consume resources in cloud providers today. And it's something that's, unique to the industry around backup, because HP are able to offer this in the UK. And as you saw earlier, we have sites in the US as well. So the other area that I see a number of customers utilizing really is around the backup usage, and how do we recover this backup, and how do we transfer the data efficiently and obviously reduce costs within the environment. Now, HP actually own their own backup protocol, an API called Catalyst. And Catalyst is a very efficient way utilizing low bandwidth links of moving high blocks and large change rates of data across very low links. And that is what we're utilizing here to transfer the data from obviously your ISV provider on-prem into the cloud. It's very quick, it's very efficient, and the event of you needing to recover that data, because of the changes that we have held within Cloud Volumes Backup, we're very quick and efficient at recovering that data. And obviously you're not using a third-party tool here. As you saw, the recovery is driven from within the Veeam interface, and it would be the same for any other ISV. Now, some customers that have started implementing this solution in the UK have looked at backing up directly into the cloud, and then in the event of them needing to do a recovery, they can recover that back on-prem, or we have the ability of recovering that data directly into Azure or AWS for very quick and very efficient recovery. But at times, customers like the ability to have 2 copies of their backup. So I've got 3 or 4 customers in the UK that have implemented this in the last maybe 8 to 10 weeks, and all of those customers have gone down the route of having a smaller dedicated backup appliance, a HP Store Once system that sits on-prem, that offers very quick recovery from their data sets, and usually they may have maybe 14 or 28 days of recovery points on that Store Once. We then have the ability to utilize something called Catalyst Copy, and we can retain a second copy of that backup data in Cloud Volumes Backup. So they may have a month's worth in on local, and they may store 3 months or 6 months or 12 months in the cloud. And then obviously in the event of needing to do a recovery, you log into your ISV, it will search the backups that you have either on-prem or in the cloud. It will work out where that virtual machine or that physical application drive is, and it will either recover it from the on-prem system, or it will reach out to Cloud Volumes Backup and recover those objects back from the Cloud Volumes Backup back into your on-prem solution. It allows customers to have I suppose they can increase their retention period of their backup data by just simply adding an additional Cloud Volumes Backup target. So we've reached the end of that webinar today, and I'd just like to say thank you very much for your time. And yeah, I will be around for another 10 or 15 minutes. So if anyone has any questions, or if you have any questions in the chat, please feel free to read those out, and I'll happily take those questions on. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul. We do have a couple of questions that have come into the chat. The first of which is, how does this product protect my backups from ransomware? What makes them invisible?
Okay, so the protocol that we're actually using here to move the data to the cloud is actually our own proprietary protocol called HP Catalyst. So it's our own IP that HP have developed. So it's not formatted in things like NTFS or VMFS. It's not aware, the ransomware is not aware of that target, because in theory it is an object store that is secured within the cloud. So if in the event of you getting, say, a ransomware infection on-prem, so say it's coming via an email or another route, and then those ransomware applications usually go through the virtual machines or the applications, and they slowly start encrypting the local application drives. And even, I've seen customers where they've got a Veeam media server with local drives on, and in theory that ransomware has started encrypting the backups. Clearly this backup is secure, it's off-site, and the ransomware has no way of knowing that backup target is there, because of the way that we're moving data in and out of the cloud. So that's how we're securing that data.
Thanks, Paul. Hopefully that answers that for them. The next question that we've got is, what are the typical RTO or RPO times for this product? Okay, so that will depend on the customer's internet connection, because obviously one key thing here is that if a customer's got 10 terabytes of production data, the initial baseline that we do to back up that data set is obviously a full backup copy utilizing the ISV and pushing that out to the cloud.
And I've initially seen some customers take, it might have taken 3 or 4 days to get that initial backup copy done, just so they've got a full offsite copy. Once the copy is in place, obviously the recovery from the cloud will vary depending on the links the customers have to the internet from their site, and also the data set that they're looking to recover. I mean, we've done a number of proof of concepts with this solution in the UK since we went into lockdown in March with customers. In theory, they've run out of local backup space, so they've looked to add capacity by adding in cloud volumes. And from some of the recoveries that I've done as part of the POCs, I've seen VMs take maybe 15 or 20 minutes to recover in Veeam from cloud volumes backup. So yeah, it's not as, I suppose, it's not as instant as if you had it from a local copy, and that's why some of the customers we've worked with decided on this hybrid solution where you have a local copy of a smaller retention period on the store once system, and then you have an additional copy or archive that sits within the cloud for longer term retention. And that meets, if someone's lost a file within the last 3 or 4 days, that comes directly, that would recover in a couple of minutes, I imagine, from the on-prem backup solution. If you're trying to recover something from last month or the month before, then in theory, it may take 15 or 20 minutes to recover that from the cloud.
Thanks, Paul. And thanks for your very informative webinar. If anyone does have any questions that we haven't managed to get around to, or anything that they think of later, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us, either via email, via social media, or on the number there on the slide, or contact Paul directly.
Yeah, I would also say, by the way, that obviously this is a Hewlett Packard solution, HPE solution within the UK. And as you saw, it does integrate with the majority of the main backup ISVs. And we do have demo accounts available for this. So if you do have customers that are on here today that would like to look at trialing this, as you see, it's a cloud-based solution that it requires a small proxy, a virtual machine that gets installed in the environment to create that secure link from on-prem into the cloud. But obviously there's no hardware to ship as part of a proof of concept. In theory, we have the ability to open up a terabyte cloud volumes backup volume, and then the customers just have to spend kind of 15 to 20 minutes configuring that in their ISV, and they will be able to do test backup and recoveries of their VMs using cloud volumes backup. So if there is anyone on here today that would like to look at this in a little bit more detail, please reach out to Switchshop, and I'm happy to set up a proof of concept for you if you'd like to try it. Because yeah, it's okay seeing this in action and talking through the marketing and how it, we did go into a bit more detail about how it works and how it operates. But if customers wanted to try this, then they're happy to try this because it is a cloud service.
Thanks, Paul. So I think that's all from us today. And have a lovely day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.